Hi, this is Allison Meehan with Tracks and Roots. Today I wanted to talk about my favorite garden weed, and this is chickweed. Okay, so it's growing down here right in my garden, and it's sprawling out. It looks kind of like a blanket of green, and it's actually quite pretty. But it's March in Virginia right now, and if you look, it's actually flowering. You have some tiny white flowers. And when you look really closely, it looks like it has 10 petals, but it actually has 5 petals that are deeply grooved. So you won't be able to see it probably super well here. But okay, so the leaves are opposite. And on the back, they look very green, but then when you flip it around, it's kind of purplish. Sometimes a dark purple even. But the leaves are very smooth, no teeth. And when I harvest it, I pick about this much, okay? So I'll just take the top like that. And farther down it gets kind of fibrous. And as you can see, it's even a little yellow here, like it's been drying out. Anyway, so this is a very powerful food as medicine plant. Has a lot of vitamins and a lot of medicinal properties. So generally I will eat it raw. It cooked with it here and there, like throw it in with eggs or something, but it's just way better raw. It's great in a salad, has a nice crunch. It has a really good flavor, like just definitely a little bit of an herb flavor, but not like it's hard for me to explain the flavor because it's very different than most other plants, but it's green and fresh. I mean, to me it tastes like chickweed, but so one of the most common things people do with this is make pesto, and you can follow just a regular pesto recipe, but rather than basil you use chickweed. Okay. So what I really like about it in the garden though is it will start to grow in around late December, January. It likes the cold, and you can start harvesting it then. But then now it's March and we have a lot of it, so we can come out and gather what we need for our pesto just to eat in a salad, and then enough to dry for the year for medicine. And then what happens is when it's time for you to come out and plant your seedlings that you've started inside, it will die back. So it tends to be, let's see, it will start producing the seeds in a few months, and then by July you won't even see it anymore. All of it will have died back, and then that's when you can put your other stuff in. And it's also, I mean, if you did have it in a garden bed, because you were growing it and eating it, it's actually very easy to pull up. It's not like a dandelion where the root is really thick and solid. It's just very thin root. I would pull it, but I guess I could pull a little bit. Anyway, so there are a few lookalikes. The main one is the mouse-eared chickweed, and that's in a different genus, but it looks somewhat similar, although it's fuzzy. So that's the main difference. This has a tiny bit of fuzz on the stem, but otherwise it is smooth. As far as, so the nutritional value of this is like it has a ton of vitamins. It absorbs the minerals from the ground. So they have studied it, and it has more iron and zinc than spinach, kale, collard greens, all those kinds of leafy greens that you can buy at the farmer's market or the grocery store. So that's a great thing to get into your body in the winter when you might be feeling low energy. Also, when you're sick or trying to recover from a cold, this is really good at bringing some energy back into your system. It has a little bit of mucilage, which so mucilage is anything that's slimy, like think of okra, how when you cook that produces a sliminess. and that has some like a lot of medicinal properties and health benefits. But that can help with your throat when you're sick. It's great in a tea. And so if you have low iron, you want to either consume it or use it as a tea, and for colds, both, or soups, or usually like heating it up for a cold would be a good way to go. You can make a tincture with it. It's also really good for your skin. So it's cooling, and it helps with rashes, helps with acne, eczema, that type of thing. So you can make a salve, a poultice, a compress, or an infused oil. It's anti-inflammatory as well, so that helps. That'll help with your rash problems, rashes. And because of the mucilage that it has, it can help a little bit with heartburn. So just eating that or using it as a tea can help. But to completely get rid of heartburn, you'd want to use something else as well, like chamomile or calendula, licorice, meadowsweet, something else that also has that mucilage in it. You can make a tea with it for acne, and usually people would throw in some other herbs too. Like the most common would be red clover and burdock. Let's see. Okay. Let me think what else I have to cover. So yeah, I highly recommend getting this in your garden. So if I'm going to dry it for tea, I'm going to take kind of a big piece like this, and then I'm just going to tie a string around it and hang it up in my house to dry. And then I put it in a mason jar, and I have it for the whole rest of the year as tea. And you can also use that in your salves, and in a tincture. So I've made my kids cough syrup with this, yes, or like a cough syrup to help with their immune system and help them recover. But generally, like I've said, eating it is probably the absolute best thing you can do with this, because just has so many vitamins. So anyway, I hope you will look for this in your yard. If you don't have it, you can probably find it in a park or somebody else's yard, and I highly recommend just bringing it into your yard. Start in a pot maybe, and see if you like it. Watch